Hello, hola, bienvenidos, welcome. Seen and Heard is back. It's our 60th anniversary season at Hartford Stage. Yeah, it's so exciting. I'm surrounded by some of the best humans on the planet, so it's really a gift to start this season. I am Melia or Melia Ben Susan, really honored to be your artistic director at this wonderful theater. And so thrilled, so excited to open the 60th anniversary season of this Your Theater with an extraordinary production of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, adapted by Kate Hamill and directed by the wonderful Tatyana-Marie Carlo, who is here to join us. And it stars, and I use the verb stars loosely because this is really such an ensemble show, but we have two wonderful actors here with us to talk about this production with all of you. And first, I'm going to introduce Carmen Lacivita, Senor Darcy.
Hi.
There are so many credits to both these actors and this amazing director that I'm not going to take up time now listing them, but do look at their bios on our webpage because you'll be so impressed. And I just want to say it speaks so well of this community that it has sustained a theater that draws this level of talent, because these three people are really people who have been worth watching previously and are even more worth watching moving ahead. Carmen was here previously for Winter's Tale, so we can talk a little bit about the differences in these productions as we move forward. And we welcome, so this is a premiere, a debut for Tatyana at Hartford Stage, and also for the extraordinary Renata Eastlick, who is here with us as well, who's playing Lizzy. Lizzy Bennet. Yes, it's the Bennet sisters. I will admit to all of you, I have been rereading Middlemarch. I read Pride and Prejudice. It made me think of George Eliot. So I realized I was sort of mixing the sisters and the families a little in my head to a wonderful degree. And I'll talk more about, I guess, why my brain went to these books and why I'm so excited about us doing Pride and Prejudice. But I'm gonna, as I said to all of you, interrupt, jump in. This is as fluid a conversation as we can have on Zoom. You all just had a long day of rehearsal, so enormous thanks for joining us to talk to our patron subscribers at this moment. Tell us a little bit about what this play is. People, by and large, have assumptions maybe about what Pride and Prejudice is or what Jane Austen writes about. If you had to capture in a few words, what is Pride and Prejudice about? Why Jane Austen?
Mm.
All right, Carmen, your like window lit up. Like you went,
Yeah, okay.
and so you lit up. So in the Hollywood squares that is Zoom, I was like, oh, Carmen, do you want to answer?
Sure, I'd love to answer. Yeah, Pride and Prejudice it's about so many things. It's about family, it's about love, it's about finding your match or finding your equal. It's about money. It's about survival. There's so much in it that percolates all these things that everyone today can absolutely relate to.
And it feels like, what I said to you all at the meet and greet, and Tatiana, I'm going to hand it to you because you speak so much more eloquently about this than I do. But one thing that really struck me about Austen is what Carmen's speaking about is how much she captures sort of social class and the challenges of finding a partner that you can stand, maybe even like and love, and how much these are still timeless themes. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely still timeless. I think the more and more we work through in rehearsal, we're like, this is happening right now, right? Like marriage is a contract. And while the contract looks different than it did in the time of Austen, right? It's still a contract. And so I think that there's so many timeless concepts. And also what Kate Hamill has done with the play is really make it relevant. And I call it a romantic comedy because to me it feels that way. But it is a romantic comedy that will also pull at your heartstrings. And I think that's a brilliant work that Kate Hamill has done with the language as well.
It's a very and Renata, if you want to, can you talk a little bit about what goes on in rehearsal? Because this is a very, I love them laughing the minute I ask what goes on in rehearsal. I just want to note that everybody, they're having a really good time. They're working so hard. They're working. Wait, I just want to give folks a little bit of background. We are recording this. I don't know when you're watching it at home, hopefully before you see the show or maybe after to learn more about what you just saw. But we are at the beginning of we're in the middle of week
Right?
3 already?
Mhm.
Híjole. Yeah.
Híjole, is right.
Híjole, perdón.
Right?
I'm sorry, y'all. It's like a week went away for me. We're in the middle of week 3, which means for this gifted company, they're thinking already about how to put it all together. Yeah. And that next week, a week from tomorrow, they move into the theater. So just to give you all, as you watch, I mean, it's kind of amazing how we put together a play. These actors come together. Some of them don't know each other. Some of them worked with Tatyana, some have not. And they
Wow.
gather in a room 2.5 weeks ago, and now they're family. And now they know so much about each other. And in that period of time, I don't know what you, our audience, have done in the last 2.5 weeks. These people are running a Jane Austen play. So it's like really cool how theater happens. But Renata, this is a very unconventional sense of Austen. It's not like your and these are the BBC Masterpiece Theater versions of Austen are wonderful, but this is not that.
No.
Can you tell us a little bit about what it feels like to be inside it? And then Tatyana, I'll ask you a little bit about the machine that Kate Hamill's created, and that you, with your brilliant wit and your own sort of your own sense of humor and music and movement are infusing it. But Renata, what is it like to be inside this machine right now? What's it like?
Oh my goodness, it is so much fun. First of all, like this cast, this creative team is incredible. We all get along, which is amazing. You know what I mean? Because humans, right? Like it's always it's a lot of people in the same room, and we all love each other. We're always going out with each other. We're having a potluck tonight after this. So that already says a lot about this ensemble.
I hope you three aren't cooking, given that you're working this hour. I'm just saying, I hope you three are excused from the cooking part of the potluck, given the work.
We have some things in the works.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm like wine. But no, it's amazing because we already have that familiar kind of feeling with each other in such a short amount of time. And that really comes from the top down, right? From leadership down, right? So you have an amazing, AD, then casting directors, then director, and then everybody down the line has worked together to create this space. So now that we're in the rehearsal space, it's a ball. And Kate Hamill has really created an interesting adaptation that is so witty. So everyone is like bringing in all of these hilarious choices. Some people are playing multiple characters.
Well, I was going to say, only you two are not doubled, correct, Tatyana? Right?
Miss Bennet. Yeah,
okay.
So 3 of us are not doubling.
And 5 other people are playing every other role.
Yeah.
And 1 person is playing 3 characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and there's a really fun moment where there's like a dummy who's sort of on, we have a mannequin that might be in the play or not in the play. Well, to be surprised.
Pepe's gonna be in the play. You have to find out who Pepe is later.
Yeah.
But Pepe's
like, where's Waldo? It's like, where's Waldo?
Where's Waldo? Where's Pepe?
Right.
Where's Pepe?
Well, because the doubling works across gender, yes? So that there's a subversive sort of wonderful, talk more about that. It's both celebrating what Jane Austen has created, but giving it a contemporary lens while keeping the period feel. It's really extraordinary to do both things.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you got this. You got this.
I was gonna say that we strayed away from the traditional casting. We strayed away from the traditional casting that Kate Hamill had, and I feel like it created something really exciting in that. Is that folks are playing characters that they wouldn't necessarily have played in another version of a Kate Hamill play. You could have been in a Kate Hamill play and now been like, or in Pride and Prejudice previously, like somebody here, and then now play different characters because Kate Hamill gives us the freedom to switch that up.
Right.
So it's really exciting, and there's a lot of quick changes, like really, really fast changes.
And by quick changes, you mean costume changes, right? So
changes.
people are changing costumes in plena vista. I mean, do we see people change their costumes?
Well, I don't know if you see anyone. I don't know. You have to come to the show.
Oh, all right.
see
You'll have
what
to come
happens.
see it.
But
But there's
definitely
transformation.
The play is always moving. The play is always moving. You don't know where people are gonna pop out of, what's gonna happen. It's definitely a play that's like a turntable, always moving. Yeah.
Carmen, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say that it's a wild ride. It's definitely what's great about this version, Kate Hamill's version, is that she keeps the heart of what everyone loves so much about Jane Austen. So whenever you mention a Jane Austen piece to any family that knows Jane Austen or has studied it or is a fan of Jane Austen, they automatically have this reaction of, oh my God, I love Jane Austen so much. And they love it. There's a connection to it that they feel really quickly. And Kate has kept that heart in this production and in this play, but then also has brought it into our time so that we can all feel like it's not so far away from us or unattainable for us to experience anything that happened in, the 19th century, so.
A great way to put it, right? I mean, we have a trap sometimes with sort of these classic works of, I call it like the Mona Lisa syndrome, where we put it behind glass and we say, oh, that's really great. I can't really see it. And I don't really know why everyone's making such a fuss because it's behind so much glass and so far away from me. And I think a theater allows you access. Our thrust stage, yeah, here we are, right? And I should say to our audience watching, Kate Hamill is a living, breathing contemporary playwright, a friend of this theater, and so this is a very new adaptation. We're not the premier theater to present it, but we are in touch with Kate, and just very grateful to be working with a living playwright, adapting a great classic work, as Carmen says, bringing it into the moment, and then adding to this Tatyana at our helm as a director who's bringing a different sensibility than a kind of, very English, old school, not narrowness, because that would be unfair, but just it's a certain lens, right? And we're saying, what does a rom-com look like to us now in this country at this time? And can you guys talk a little bit? I will just say, I think this audience will be blown away by the set and costumes. I mean, you're all going to be brilliant on the set and in those costumes, but Tatyana, can you speak a little bit about the inspiration behind, because I do think, friends, you have to come see this production at Hartford Stage. It's going to be so funny, but also so moving and so beautiful. It's using the theater in a really wonderful way. Yeah.
Yeah. And shout out to Sarah Brown, our scenic designer.
Yeah.
And also Ida Zelabeth, who is our costume designer as well as Asia Jackson, who's doing our lights, and Daniel Baker, who's doing sound. Oh my goodness, there's so many people. I feel like I gotta say everybody's name.
No, and brilliant. I mean, you have a brilliant choreographer in Shira Baryshnikov. I mean, we have a dialect person. I mean, this is really a very big show with a lot of moving parts. But I would go on record on saying this is probably the most scenically and costume color-rich production of this play.
And I think in our initial conversations, and I have to thank Ida so much, because Ida was very much pushing to make sure that the colors, that the richness of the colors stayed throughout, and Sarah Brown for always saying yes.
Yes. So Sarah's costumes, just stay with us.
Sarah is scenic, Aide is costumes. So what Aide has done is given us an incredible color palette, right? With the costumes that then scenic, after they built this incredible sort of like jungle gym for us, created based off of the colors of the costumes, adjusted the flowers and what was happening around us to include the costumes. So that's why I include both of those conversations, because it was in design conversations with all of us where really it started to come to life. Something that was important to us was, how do we marry this English culture and like those true Jane Austen fans with today and the things that we're excited about, and also including a little bit about ourselves as well, right? And the influence for us, and even looking at the cast, was how do we take these, like, I'm from the Caribbean, I'm Puerto Rican, like these Caribbean-esque colors and vibe, and marry it with this like English silhouette, right? And so I think that we'll see that in the colors. We might see some of that in the choices of music that comes out. And yeah, and our beautiful cast that's from so diverse and from so many different places. I think it's really important for audiences to know that Jane Austen, like anyone can live in a Jane Austen story. And I think that's why her books are so universal, because people can see themselves in those books. And now they can see a 3D version of that on the stages at Hartford Stage.
I love that, right? And how I think what I love so much about what you are all making and what Kate Hamill has guided, this version to, is how theatrical it is. It'll be completely different than seeing a TV or film version. It's just you're in constant movement, and you're with us in the theater, connecting with us. Nothing like live theater. You have to come see this play. What is a moment in rehearsal that one of you could describe that sort of captures some of both the joy and the chaos and kind of this process? Just what comes to mind?
Oh, there's so many.
Throw one out. You can build on anything.
Wow. Wow, that captures the joy.
Yeah, that's a tough question.
Wow. Let me think about that for a second. We do this thing. I don't know if I'm going to share this. We do this thing where we ritual in every day, where we have just like a moment that we can just like have together as people. And someone in the group will give like a prompt to talk about what we want to talk about that day, and everyone goes around and introduces themselves and they talk. But every day we learn something more about each other going into rehearsal and leaving rehearsal because of our rituals, our ritual in and our ritual out. It's hard to explain to an audience that doesn't know what it is exactly, but it creates like an atmosphere of freedom when we're in rehearsal, and relaxation, and awareness of like, yes, we're here to do this thing, but we are also human, and this is my temperature today, and this is what's going to happen because of that. And it allows like just like a little dusting off before you start, and it's a good way to start the rehearsal. Yeah. That sticks out for me.
No, and I think jumping off that is that I remember growing up and like being in the theater and in theater school, I had this perception of what a rehearsal room should look like. I remember being told you can't speak, like you have to like behave, you can't like even make sharp movements. I don't even know, but like I move too fast. And I remember feeling in those spaces like, oh my God, this sucks. I felt like I could never. I'm the kind of person, even when I was in school, that I was always like moving around and doing things. And I always joke around that like all the things I got in trouble for when I was younger are the things that make me great now. And
Amen. Amen. For those of us who couldn't stay quiet in class, now here we are.
Here we are. And I think that the rehearsal room that we've created together is just one that's like so fun. We're allowed to laugh freely. Sometimes we get no work done, and sometimes we get all the work work done. And even when we're not getting work done, there's work happening.
That's right.
I always say like the work is always happening, even when we're not actively like staging pages. But yeah, it's just a really fun room. And I mean, Melia, and we know the casting crew, everyone did like such an amazing job in putting together 8 people that like are just a vibe. It's the best way that I can say
So
it.
Yes.
how does that connect to an audience, right? Because I'm with you, and you know, we all know this, but can we articulate why this is so important when you're telling a story to an audience of, you know, we have 485 seats in a thrust theater. Why does it matter that you're having a good time in rehearsal?
Honestly, you know, a lot of people hear the word ensemble, right? And ensemble is just basically a bunch of players, aka actors, aka performers, that come together to tell this story. And the fact that we are having fun and enjoy our jobs really translates to the stage, because if you're doing that with your colleagues, right, in a room, once you're on stage, you can be fearless. And not only that, but it's engaging because it helps tell the story, right? It pushes forward the storytelling. And if we allow ourselves to be our silliest or be our most dramatic, like if we have a soap opera moment or a telenovela moment in the play, and we're just laughing our butts off in rehearsal, when we do it on stage, it will ring truthfully because we believe it, right? And if we
Yeah.
believe it as actors, that, you know, a situation's happening in the play where, oh, are they're falling in love and you see it and we believe it, or there's a chase because someone is like there's Collins and Lizzy, and she's like, oh no, not this dude, out of all the dudes, why this dude? And we're having a moment. If the actors are truly engaged and having a good time, my goodness, it's so fun to watch. It's so fun to watch people just be over the top and create these characters and like work through all of that character work. Like, what's their gaits? Like, how do they walk through the space? What's their laugh like? Is it like a belly laugh? And I don't know, but for me as an actor, when I'm watching a performance as an audience member and I can see those fun little nuanced things that actors have, like a funny laugh or a little like side comment moment that they're having, and all of these details, it's just fun to watch, and you want to be engaged in that story, right?
It's more alive, right?
Yeah.
It's full of life because the playing with each other doesn't stop.
Yes, exactly.
And it then stretches to the audience, and you, the audience, are our final ensemble member, right? That they can't wait to tell the story and include you as part of the storytelling. I always tell this to audiences, and you all can attest to this as well, is that every audience changes the performance.
Mm-hmm.
Where they breathe, where they laugh, where they sigh, where they lean in, right? You can feel it on stage.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
That's
you
what I love
definitely,
live theater.
Yeah.
yeah, you definitely feel it on stage. You can feel them breathing with you, and if you're it's like a dual listening going on, because you're listening to if they're with you or if they're not with you, and you can feel that it's a real attainable thing. So when the audience is there, we sense that we're so attuned to hearing and feeling how they're responding to what's happening on stage, and it informs us on whether we need to turn the volume up, so to speak, or raise the temperature emotionally, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. A big part of my preview process is literally watching the audience. A big part of the preview process is watching the audience. When do they laugh? When is something not landing? When do we need to make adjustments? And really, it's the interaction with the audience that informs a lot of the decisions that we make that lead to opening night, right?
And to share with all of you watching, right, what we mean by previews, and I think I've said this before, but just in case this is maybe one of your first times joining us, previews are my favorite time as well, Tatyana. And what it means is if you come to a performance the first week of performances, from the first Thursday till the following Thursday of our run, you're seeing a performance that is followed by a rehearsal. Not that night, we don't make them work that hard, but there's a performance, and then the next day there's a rehearsal, and the director can put in changes, and the cast, right? You're all inspired by what you have felt from the night before, and the play keeps changing. And I invite all of you, if you come to an early preview, find me. I'm always there. And we'll give you a discount to come back and see it near the end of the run, because plays change so much, right? And it's what Tatyana's saying. Tatyana, as the director, is watching the audience. Where are you responding? Where are you not? Where is it losing momentum? Or where is it going too fast and you're not following the plot? Yeah, all of these things.
Yeah,
I love previews too.
I love previews. So fun. Yeah.
There's a lot of choreography in this, and can you all talk, because when we say choreography, we think dances, and there is some dancing in this, but there's also choreography done by wonderful Shura Baryshnikov. And Tatyana, what is that like to you? And then Carman and Renata, what is it like to be in a production that requires you to not only master a dialect, learn your lines, have an emotional reality, move? You two don't have to change your costumes, but many other people are shifting characters within. But talk a bit about the choreography. What does that mean to you, Tatyana?
Yeah, the choreography, there's so much happening, right? There's the onstage choreography that we see, and then there's also a whole backstage life of choreography that's happening with our deck crew and our stage management team as well. So on the stage, you'll see amazing choreography by Shura Baryshnikov. And what I love about Shura is that she really meets people where they are. I was also a student of hers who now turned into a colleague of hers and a fan of hers. And it's such a gift to be able to watch her practice grow or see her outside of a teaching element and watch her work with professionals. And she really is you give her an inch and she'll take a mile in the most beautiful way. You only have to give her a little bit and she'll create this amazing world around a small prompt or a small suggestion. We also have
a world of movement that you're describing.
Yes, a world of movement, right? And then also we have a fight choreographer, right? Tanise Divya Johnson.
Amazing.
They are incredible. Also, yeah. Yes,
for real, they're so good.
They're so incredible, and also meet people where they are, and also don't let anybody get away with anything.
So fight choreography, tell us about that. Are there staged fights in Pride and Prejudice?
There are staged fights in Pride and Prejudice. Maybe. I feel like
I'm going into my talk show host mode. Well, so tell us about the fights.
Renata, do you want to talk about, because I feel like you're in most of the fights.
Yeah, I mean, it's Tanise, they deal with both fight choreography and intimacy. So we're working on both of that, where there's intimacy between Darcy and Lizzy, and there's also choreography of butt slaps and different things that happen that are quite funny. And a lot of it is very similar to just comedic timing as an actor, in the sense of when somebody's no, yes, no, yes. So those things are all choreographed as well. It has to be 1, 2, 3, and different moments like that. So it takes a little bit of time and finesse to get the jokes to land. So that's really exciting to be able to navigate that. So I'm excited to see what audiences will think when they see it.
And then all the backstage choreography with all the costume changes and everything too.
Yeah.
You're going to say something, Carmen. My bad.
No. There's so much choreography, but it's not, when you think of. I feel like for this production, it's not necessarily fight choreography or dance choreography. It's just choreography,
Because you're all in motion all the time.
All the time. It's the whole play feels like a dance. And then there are specific dances because of the changes and stuff, and because of the costuming backstage, and parts of the stage that are moving or not moving, you know, so like you're in constant flow. There's a constant flow through it, and then inside of that flow there's more specific flow that's related to dance, or that's related to, you know, intimacy, or related to some kind of smack or push.
Right. Um, I love what we're saying about choreography, because what it's really saying to an audience is, like, it's Tatyana, you said this previously, there's going to be something always to catch, and you're not going to be able to see it all if you don't see it twice, right?
For real.
Right.
Thrice.
Thrice. Thrice.
Well, this is also like this is a play that, you know, it would be good to see 2 or 3 times,
Yeah.
because and from different angles, because of the movement, and because of the staging, and because of the beautiful way that Hartford stage is constructed.
Right.
And then what Tatyana is doing with this play, if you come 2 or 3 different times, you will see a different play.
We've gotta, you know, I've got to talk to marketing. I mean, we got to sell like, you know, 3 to 5 tickets for this show for you. Yeah.
That's right.
There is, all right, I'm gonna do the plug, right? There's the stage pass if you're 35 and under for $99. You can see the play as many times as you want. How about that? There you go.
Wow, that's
It's
amazing.
amazing.
No, but it is actually really cool. It is really, really cool. And you can bring up to 3 people each for $20 a ticket.
Oh my God.
Oh,
And you
Wow.
can see any show in the season as many times as you want. I know. It's like really
As
unbelievable.
many times as you want.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we have a wonderful, I'll just say, and you know, I hope he's watching. We have a wonderful new board member who has seen, I think, every show. And Carman, I know he saw Winter's Tale like 7 or 8 times, but he
Wow.
has seen like every show, thanks to the stage pass, you
We'll
know.
have to interview him after Pride and Prejudice.
yeah.
Just
And,
ask
and
him
see if he
about
tracks
reading.
all the, what did he watch each time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what did you catch each time? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I see a great like program insert. What did you
Yeah.
see? What did you catch this time you didn't see last time?
Yeah, I love that.
I will say, hearing you all at the first read through, just to speak that the essence of that book is so powerful, because you know, no spoiler alerts. I mean, I won't do a spoiler, so I don't need to do an alert. I think, you know, most people know how this ends. We won't go there, but those last couple scenes, you guys, I was supposed to be in a meeting, and so I was like, I'm gonna just leave early, and then I sat there and I was like, oh, I'm not leaving. I am watching this wrapping up, because the story is so perfect, right? I mean, the very narrative is so archetypal. I think of you both a little as Beatrice and Benedict in Much Ado, right? I mean,
yeah.
there's such
Yeah.
the perfect pairing.
And today we did the scene before the last scene.
Yeah.
And oh my God. We were, well, I'll speak from Tatyana's eye. I was sobbing. Like I was sobbing. I don't know, Carmen, we talked about it a little bit.
I was too.
Yeah.
I was tore up.
Well, this desire to find your
Yeah.
significant other, you know, your partner through life, right? I mean, it's regardless of gender, I mean, this desire to pair up, it's so interesting. Yeah, and this story kind of capturing how hard it is, and then how easy it is all at once. I don't know. I'll get all, you know, weepy if we start on that, but
Also, like young people are always listening, I think, is what I thought about today. It's like they're like sponges. You know, I'm talking about all the sisters, right? We have a 14-year-old sister, 15. They're you know, pretty young. So just like they're just sponges taking everything in that's happening around them also. And so that today was just, it stood out in a way that it hadn't
oh, that's
previously.
interesting.
Yeah.
And it was like really like today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, family as part of this is kind of what we haven't talked about that, but how much it's a tale of how a family functions through a period. Sorry, Carmen, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're I'm just piggybacking on what you just said, Amelia, is that, you know, the family in this she's right. You know, Tatyana is right as well, that the younger ones are listening to the older ones and just doing what what they're hearing. They're following suit, and the repercussions of that, I think, are felt, with the older siblings once they see what happens, and what their words and actions have created, So it's just a great story, especially for siblings, mothers and daughters, husbands and wives, families to just come and watch, because they'll be able to recognize all of those things in their own family with the Bennet family.
Right.
Yeah.
I should say, bring your kids, bring your
Oh,
parents.
please bring
This is
yeah.
so much, an intergenerational story to share of how we disappoint parents and then surprise them, how parents disappoint us and then surprise us. That's both so clear in Austen, it's so articulated in Hamill, and then this cast and this director and these designers are giving it such vivid life. Renata. I keep changing how to pronounce your name. Cualquiera. You can call me Melia or Melia or whatever else you want to call me. It's,
No, it's fine. It's fine. No, yeah, I completely agree with that. And it's also about, yes, it is funny and joyous and all of that. And that would be my takeaway. I would love theater goers to just leave filled with joy from seeing live theater, because for a moment there, we were like, where will theater be? So the fact that we get to be in a space together again with other humans and enjoy live theater, first of all, is so exciting. And then going back to the family aspect of it, my goodness, it's about family, right? It's about misunderstandings. It's about who has more knowledge about what, right? Society, standards of society, and what's right, what's wrong, etiquette, right? What makes one, fancier than someone else, like, can you walk into a space without following all of, the etiquette and still be
yeah,
okay, right?
yeah.
So it's such a timeless thing, because all of this still happens, right? Sometimes if you don't speak the same way as someone else, or you're from a different culture or society or, economic status, that can affect how you walk into a space. And so I think that that's also a topic besides the beautiful, like love story. There's so much more in Pride and Prejudice, both the original, by Jane Austen, and this adaptation. There's so much more storyline there. There's like I said, there's the family, there's the love story, there's the society. So I think that every single person that comes to see the play will not only find themselves in different characters, right? But they'll also be able to see that. And particularly because this is, a ethnic, multiracial cast,
Right.
I think it'll also appeal to so many other people that can finally have the opportunity to see themselves on stage playing these iconic characters.
Yeah, you
right?
too are a romantic heroine. You too are
Right.
the leading man. You
Yeah.
too get to be the beautiful sister. Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So it's so cool to be able to have that opportunity, as a Afro-Latina Brazilian woman, to play Elizabeth Bennet. Like, it's something that I never thought in my life that I'd be able to do. So I'm excited as well to have people, in my community. I've already been going to different Brazilian restaurants, and
That's
they're
awesome.
so excited. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I actually read that book," and I'm like, "You did?" Because no, in keeping it real,
Yeah.
if you're from a different culture, maybe you weren't exposed to it. So to hear that some of my fellow, Brazilians have actually read the book or are familiar with it, and they're like, "Wow, you're Brazilian, you get to play this character. That's really cool," And I'm like, "Yeah, come see it." So I'm excited to see, the different people that will finally be exposed to theater in a different way, and that will see themselves in it as well. So that's cool to have that opportunity.
That's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
really, how has it been to be in Hartford doing this play at this theater at this moment?
I
Just
love it. I love Connecticut, period. I just love Connecticut. So I've had the opportunity this will be my third Lord Theater that I'm working at in Connecticut. So I worked at Yale Rep. I understudied there, and then Long Wharf, and now here at Hartford Stage. So I love it. I love the theater. Everybody's so nice here. Like, and also just Hartford, you're walking down the street, people are like, hi, how are you? And I'm like, what? So I'm enjoying my time so far.
That's
Really,
good.
really enjoying it. Yeah.
I love it so much. You know, Amelia, I told you last time I was here, I had such a great time, and you were such a huge part of that. And just after traveling all over the country and doing shows, you know, at different regional theaters, to come here and to experience, you know, the level of professionalism and artistry, as well as compassion in a theater and from the top down was like really just great and really satisfying as an artist, and really made me feel safe. And when we worked on Winter's Tale, I was like, Amelia, you haven't gotten rid of me. I'm coming
And
back.
I said I wasn't getting rid of you. I you know.
Yeah, so I'm so thankful and
Well,
happy to be back here.
look, all of this is in dialogue, and it's just an enormous pleasure to host all of you, and really an honor. And I know audiences will be able to say, oh yeah, we saw Tatyana's direction at Hartford Stage, and now I can't get tickets to her Broadway show. And same with both of you. I mean, this I think is a pinnacle in itself. I don't mean it's a stepping stone only. I just mean that it really is a tremendous honor to have all of you. Before we wrap up, 2 questions. Anything that you want to add that I haven't had the sechel to ask you, and the smarts to bring up, and then also, what's a line from this play that comes back to you? What, and either one of those, like, what haven't I asked that you want to share? What should this audience hear from you before they see the show, or will enlighten them in some new way after they've seen it? Either of those things. I should have a ticking sound. Tick. Exactly. I knew there was a sound, but you really don't want me here. You don't want to try me singing any melody, even as basic
I
as
think I can
that.
answer. Just I can say one thing is that everyone who's working on this play is truly the best of the best. Like, my job is to work regionally. I work all over, and I'm talking about, and I know we've said from the top down, really, like, every person that has their hands on this show is so incredibly talented. And I'm saying outside of resumes, which are also amazing, resumes that are also amazing. It's just really, truly a group of people that is so incredibly heartful and heart-centered and so hardworking, right? And I used to be scared of that word, hard work, but I like working hard, and I found other people who like to do that too. And so that is just something about this group as a whole. It's just how incredibly heartful and hardworking this cast, crew, everyone is that's working on this play.
I love that. And I think it manifests in the amount of detail and care and sort of, I mean, Renata describing what it's like to be on stage, and Tatyana, you mentioning the backstage life, the designers, the artistry of the costume build, the artistry and the set design. And just to remind all of you watching, the artisans, the craftspeople who are making these extraordinary designs are Connecticut residents. They're our full-time staff who work tirelessly to make, work the visions of our incredible guest artists. So thank you, Tatyana. I think that's a really wonderful thing. Other thoughts or lines from the play? Either one. You don't have to do both, I promise. It's not a test.
Is it would it be just any line from the play? I mean, there's so
Yeah,
many.
any line. Like you think Jane Austen, what's the famous line from Jane Austen, friends? What's the line that everybody thinks they know that happens early in the play?
Early in the play.
What is it that everyone knows that a bachelor
what is
I'm messing it up, right?
Bachelor in the Neighborhood? No.
No, the line. It's a truth universally known.
universally, yeah.
So go ahead.
That's the line. I think it's Lizzie's line, right?
Yes.
All right, Lizzy, over to you. This to me is like the
It is a
line
truth
that we think about.
universally known- Right. Is a truth. Oh, goodness.
Your book,
You're
your
tired,
book.
friends. They've had a long day.
It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of good fortune must be in want of a wife, Papa.
There you go.
That one. Yes, yes,
It's
yes.
just what I was thinking. I mean, it's such, and that begins sort of this quest for what it is to marry, what it is. I mean, what are women's options at this time? I mean, just the narrative of what it means to acquire in society and gain footing and love. But yeah.
And
But-
also trailblazing, right? Like that Lizzy is this trailblazer that's like, I ain't having this.
I don't want to get married. And also that your dad is like, or if you don't want to get married, that's cool. And you know what I mean? And they just accept the fact that you don't want to get married.
Right,
That already was like progressive.
Yeah. He's
But
like, you want to be a spinster girl? Dang.
And Carmen, you were going to say something before. Any
No,
line?
they're just, I mean, there's some funny lines. I mean, like that are definitely like Kate lines, like balls, balls, balls. I cannot get enough of them is hilarious. And that's in the play. And then also, but like, you know, if I had to choose a Darcy line that I feel like is like, you know, an iconic line for the Austen fans is, you must allow me to tell you how ardently I admire and love you. I love you. That line just like, you know, slays all the time, I think, when people read it. And hopefully when they hear it.
yeah.
Tatyana, any last thoughts?
Come see Pride and Prejudice.
Ah, we invite you.
We're gonna have so much fun.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Yeah.
I
Live
promise
theater.
you will.
Live theater should always be this fun, this joyous, this alive, this relevant. And how do you miss out on being in a room with these people? So thank you for joining us for Seen and Heard. Come see. We start previews October 12th.
Yeah.
So come come early previews, come back later in the run, come see how these people grow this wonderful show. Come be part of the magic and music and movement and just pure heart and love that is this production of Pride and Prejudice, opening Hartford Stage's 60th season. Thank you so much for joining us. Adiós, hasta pronto, nos vemos en el teatro.
Ciao.
Ciao.